Dylan. I'm Madison. I'm here today to ask you about the activities that you do outside of your regular school time. Using these drawings that are in this book right here, I'm going to ask you some questions about the activities that you do.
Okay.
So each of these cards has a drawing and an activity on it. I'm going to show you each card and ask you if you do the activity. If you do the activity, I'll ask you how often you have done the activity in the past 4 months. You may have done the activity one time in the past 4 months, 2 times, 1 time a month, 2 to 3 times a month, 1 time a week, 2 to 3 times a week, or 1 time a day. Those options are all going to be right here in the how often section. Next, I'll ask you with whom you do the activity, which will be right here. You may do it alone, with your family, your parents, brothers or sisters, or other relatives. You may do it with your friends or with other people that you know. Next, I'll ask you where you do the activity most often, which will be in this section right here. You may do it at home, at a relative's home, in your neighborhood, at school, but not during your classes, in your community or beyond your community. And then finally, I'll ask you how much you like or enjoy doing the activity. You may not like it at all, you may sort of like it, or you might like it a lot. And that will be down here in these smiley faces. Okay, so let's do a practice activity. There's one up here as an example. So we're going to do brushing your teeth as an example. So the first question is, have you done this activity in the past 4 months?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The next question is, in the past 4 months, how often have you brushed your teeth? So have you brushed your teeth once in the past 4 months, twice, 1 time a month, 2 to 3 times a month, 1 time a week, 2 to 3 times a week, or every day?
Every day.
Okay. So the next question is, with whom do you brush your teeth most often? So do you do it alone, with your family, with others, or friends?
I do it alone.
Alone? Okay, great. Now, where do you brush your teeth most often?
At home.
At home? Okay. And then last, how much do you enjoy brushing your teeth?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be a level 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay, so great. It looks like we're ready to start. Do you have any questions?
No?
All right, let's get going. Okay, so let's start with the first activity category. This category is described like this. These drawings show kids doing hobbies, crafts, or games. Think about any hobbies, crafts, or games that you have done in the past 4 months outside of school. In the past 4 months, have you done this activity? The first activity is puzzles.
No.
No, okay. So since you haven't done any puzzles, we're going to move on to the next activity. So number 2 is, have you played board games or card games outside of school in the last 4 months?
Yes.
Okay. How often have you completed this activity?
Maybe 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay. So with whom do you do this activity most often?
With friends.
Okay. And where do you do this activity most often?
Usually in the community.
And how much do you enjoy this activity?
Pretty much.
Pretty much the 3?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I'm just going to write down what you say as we go so we can keep track of your responses, okay?
All right.
Okay, so the next activity is doing crafts, drawing, or coloring. So have you done this activity in the past 4 months?
Yes.
Okay. And how often have you done this activity?
Probably 2 times in the past 4 months.
Okay. And who do you do this activity with?
I think with others. It's mostly been my classmates.
All right. And where do you do it most often?
It was at school, but it wasn't in class.
Okay. And lastly, how much do you enjoy this activity?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of. Okay. All right, the next one is collecting things. So how, have you done this activity in the past 4 months?
Yeah.
Okay. And how often have you done this?
Probably only once in the last 4 months.
And with whom do you collect things?
I think it was by myself.
Okay. And where do you do it most often?
Probably beyond my community.
And how much do you enjoy it?
Pretty much.
All right, this is the last question for this section. So the next activity is playing computer games or video games.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Okay. How often have you played video games or computer games?
Probably 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay. And with whom do you do this activity?
Usually with my brother.
Okay. So that would be number 2. All right. And where do we do this activity?
Usually at our house.
And how much do you enjoy it?
Very much.
All right, great. So that is the end of the first section. The next section of items is about social activities. So the same thing that we just did, we're going to repeat it with several different categories. The categories are going to be social activities, quiet recreation, organized sports, skill-based activities, clubs, groups, and organizations, active physical recreation, entertainment and education, and jobs, chores, and employment. Okay, Dylan, so we went ahead and completed all the sections with you. So here is your score sheet all filled out, and then there's more questions on this side too. So we did all the questions, and you have a subtotal for each category down here at the bottom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do some math here. So for your first one, 13 and 20 is 33. So your diversity score is 33, so that means there's 33 activities that you have participated in. Then for intensity, 147 is your total, and we have to divide that by 55 because there was 55 questions. Okay, so for with whom, it's 92 total, and we're going to divide it by your diversity score, which is 33. So that is 2.78. All right, and then the next one, 45 and 78. And we're also dividing it by the diversity score. So that is 3.72. And then for the last category, divided by 33 is 3.30. Okay. So your overall diversity score is 33. Intensity is 2.67. With whom is 2.78. Where is 3.72, and enjoyment is 3.30. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each of these scores and kind of plot them on this chart so we can see what those scores mean.
Okay.
So for diversity, the score is 33. So the scale is 0 to 55. So 33, I'm just going to kind of draw a circle right here. So that is kind of in the middle diversity. The next one is intensity 2.67, so that would be down here in between 2 and 3. So that's kind of low intensity. That would be the number of times that you completed the activity. With whom is 2.78. So again, that'd be down here. That's kind of mid-range. So it wants you, this test is kind of calculating who you do your activities with. So with your friends, with your family, or alone. So you get higher scores for other people like friends and lower scores for doing it by yourself. So you're kind of in the mid-range there. Where is a 3.72, also in the mid-range, and enjoyment is a 3.30. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're moving on to our second test. This test is called the PAC. So it's similar to the first one that we did, but the questions are a little bit different. So I have several cards with different activities drawn on them. I would like you to look through the cards one at a time and think about the activities that you see on the cards. You can see the cards here in the book. As you look at each card, I want you to put it into one of 3 stacks. Stack number 1 will be all the activities that you would not like to do at all. Stack number 2 will be all the activities that you would sort of like to do. And stack number 3 would be the activities that you would really like to do. So this is not about the things that you do, it's about the things that you would like to do.
Okay.
When you're putting an activity card into the stack, picture yourself doing anything at all. Pretend that you can do anything in the whole world. Do you have any questions about what I'm asking you to do?
No.
Okay, so let's try one for practice. Let's look at this first card, doing puzzles. Is this something that you would not like to do at all, sort of like to do, or really like to do?
I would not like to do it at all.
Okay, so we're gonna put it with the frowny face. We're gonna circle the frowny face. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so for the first activity, doing puzzles, is this something that you would not like to do at all, that you would sort of like to do, or that you would really like to do?
I would not like to do it at all.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a score of 1 for that. The next one is playing board games or card games.
I would sort of like to do it.
Okay. Next, doing crafts, drawing, or coloring.
No, I would not like to do
You
that.
would not like to do that, all right? The next one is collecting things.
I would not like to do that.
Okay. Playing computer games or video games.
I'd like to sort of do that.
Okay. Next is talking on the phone.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay. Going to a party.
Oh yeah, I'd really like to do that.
Hanging out.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Visiting.
I'd sort of like to do that.
And writing letters.
No, I would not like to do that.
Okay. So there are 55 questions. We're going to keep going through this book and answer the rest of the 55 questions. After you answer them, I'm just writing your answer down, but they're broken into categories: recreational activities, physical activities, social activities, skill-based activities, and self-improvement activities. Okay, so now we went through all 55 questions and you gave a score to each one of them. I went ahead and went through and gave you a sum for each category here. And now we're going to have to divide the sum by the number of items that were asked. So for the first one, for your recreational activities, the score is 1.58. For physical activities, 2.15. Social activities, 2.1. Skill-based, 1.2. And self-improvement, 1.3. Okay, so now I'm going to take the sum of each one of these categories and write them below, and we're going to find an average for all of the categories together. Okay, so I'm going to add up all of these numbers. And that is 93. And divide by 55 because there are 55 questions total. So your PAC overall score is 1.69, which is in the medium range between 1 and 3.